Hello and welcome to the PolyInnovator channel. I am Dustin Miller, PolyInnovator, and I just wanted to make this now page update for June. Almost forgot what month it is. That always happens to me when I make these videos. So once again, I'm starting off with the video instead of the blog post today, but I'll go into doing that. If you want to learn more details about what's going on, you can look at the blog post link down below. Once a month, I do a series I call the Now Page Update, where I do a blog and a vlog updating you what's going on in my life professionally and personally. So there's not a whole lot different when it comes to professionalism. I definitely want to find a day job, and I've been trying to. However, I just have not had much luck in that front. And I think that with karaoke being my main thing right now, my night job, I was figuring maybe I should try to find another night job, either another karaoke place or maybe a bartending gig or something like that, so I can continue making money at night, and that way my sleep schedule doesn't have to change as much. Because if I keep doing a lot of stuff at night, like even going out, it's definitely messing up my sleep schedule, and I think that I need to pick one or the other. And I always have leaned towards night owlism, if that's a word. And then the other aspect is personal, which I'm not doing the greatest mental health wise. Like I'm just not thinking very well, and I just don't think that I have been very happy as of late. But I don't necessarily talk about that very often. I just, that's the whole point of these videos, is to be a little bit more upfront and talk about those kind of things. So I just thought I'd mention it here. It's a matter of historical context, I guess you could say. So I have a lot of content I need to make. I've been getting more and more behind. Last month was pretty egregious on how many days that I missed. I didn't even do catch-up days where I would backdate a blog post to catch up. I just kind of just kept pushing it back. So that is something that is going on right now that I'm trying to catch up. Like even today, I have 5 posts that I need to make. And again, this is all personal, and it leads me to burning out, but if I don't do it, it'll burn me out worse, and I'll get even more mentally upset about not doing it. So it's one of those things where I'm just trying to keep a positive mindset, and hopefully if I get caught up this month or something like that, I can go ahead and make some progress there. It is interesting to me. I was thinking about this last night. I'm looking at my calendar right now, which is now in Obsidian, which I guess it's been that way for a while, but for a long time, like years, there was no calendar plugin that actually worked. The big calendar, the Magic Cal, none of them actually worked. And so now that I have a calendar plugin for the database view, I have been able to do what I used to do in Notion. My best content creation memory, ironically, me failing, but I would plan out a database worth of content, like, okay, here's post 1 through 12, give it some names, give it some ideas, and then I would choose a date. And I would basically plan out a whole database, or as much as I could from that database, onto the calendar. And then from a daily perspective, I would work off of that calendar. Now, in Notion, you can now sync it with your Notion calendar, which now sync it with your main calendar, which is great, although I guess you have to use Notion calendar to see everything, which is stupid. I don't have a way of doing that yet with my Obsidian calendar. I would love to see it on my main one. Maybe I need to just switch to Nextcloud calendar or Proton calendar, something like that. That might be a little bit more viable, because Google Calendar is just not working with Obsidian. Plus, I do want to de-Google. I want to not rely on a cloud service anymore. So that's a whole nother concept I think I might talk more about on this channel, because de-Googling is a very important concept, and I think a lot of people are not necessarily doing it enough or thinking about it enough. So that would also help me see what's on my calendar more if I had it all in one place. So the experience there is interesting though, because both in the Notion back in the day and on the Obsidian calendar now, if I miss a day, I just drag and drop to the next day, or if it's too much in one day, I'll spread it out. But I've been doing that for the last 3 weeks or month really, and that caused me to have like a backlog that's now I have like 3 posts a day, if not 4 or 5, depending on which day. So that's a little bit too much. But my point is, it is both a blessing and a curse, because through this methodology, I can basically offload my brain and not have to think about it as much. I even have a view on my sidebar where it's just a list of posts for that day. And that way, like, hey, like just a quick glance, what's the next post I need to make? That one, cool, click on it, boom. If I want to look at the main 30-day calendar view, then that's great, I can do that too. And that kind of gives me an excuse though, that if I do fail, I could just drag and drop it to the next day. It keeps me accountable to make sure I do those posts. And I think that is what was so important to me, is that most of my motivation for making this content is more so just like, hey, there's ideas that I want to get out there, or posts or videos that I want to respond to, or something along those lines. And in that mindset, this allows me to prioritize quite greatly what I want to get accomplished. And I think that by getting all of these done, it allows me to kind of feel accomplished in my head and feel like I'm actually making progress towards those mental goals. So the experience here is great, but it's also bad at the same time. Now, personally, I have been playing a lot on my Legion Go. You can see the case right about there. And I have also been messing around with travel content on this channel, you might have seen. In fact, I haven't actually done any polymathy knowledge management videos for a while, but that's because I've been putting them off each week. But if I can just get around to doing it, it'd be great. Because the idea is like, okay, 1 polymath video a month, 2 knowledge management videos a month, and then like 1 travel video a month, if I was like doing it by plan, and then anything extra on top of that is just extra. But then I'm also trying to do the polycast back up again, which means there'll be at least 5 polymath videos a month, and then 2 knowledge management, and then however many travel videos that I come across. Because last month was 4, this month might only be 1. I am thinking about doing a top-down view video for the Rework Outbound 30-liter backpack that I did a video about, because I am really excited about that, and now I have a setup that might work for that. So the experience behind making these videos is something I think is actually worthwhile, and I have a lot of great plans for it, but it is kind of like wearing me down, and I haven't even done anything on the gaming channel for a while. But what's funny is that I've been playing a lot of playing a game a lot lately, Octopath Traveler 1 again, because I wanted to do a solo run, which is both painstaking and interesting at the same time. Because it's so hard, it actually kind of motivates me to keep going. And I'm like the final boss of this character's journey, which is interesting because I just started like less than a week ago. But the first time I tried doing this, I failed miserably because I chose a character that just couldn't really work, mainly because he didn't have access to items. This character has a lot of access to items, and so I was able to get like one of the best weapons in the game for this particular class, and I was able to use that to beat a lot of enemies that might be above my level. But that is just something I'm doing is in a sense of entertainment. Something that's been on my mind recently, which might be interesting to some people on here, maybe not, is that I'm using a Legion Go for gaming, and I put Bazite on it because it makes it like a Steam Deck, and that's really cool. It makes it really console-like and easy to play, and that's great. I even dual booted it at first so I could have Windows still, and that's probably the ideal situation. However, Windows kept taking up too much space, and I needed more space for my games, and I also didn't like the dual booting situation because I couldn't access an easy list. I think I probably should have gotten like some bootloader that was a little bit better, but and that way it would just load into that versus having to load into one or the other. And I think that if I were to do that, that would probably be better off. But I've been kind of missing having a Windows PC on that little handheld, because then I could hook it up to my whole setup here and have that as a much more powerful daily driver, and or using it to connect with my external graphics card and have an even better gaming experience. And more importantly than that, even having a portable recording studio. And I still love that idea, because right now I'm using OBS. I can use Stream Suite or something like that, or even Streamlabs. I guess I can still use OBS on Linux, but just there's not enough space on there anyways. And that's just something I've been dealing with back and forth. Like, do I want Windows? Do I want Bazite? I've already put so much effort into setting up the gaming system too, especially for retro games, that I don't want to just dismantle what I had done there. But it's been on my mind recently. I don't want to ramble too much, but that is essentially the update to what's going on in my life. If I can think of anything else, I'll add it to the blog post, because I always make one or the other first, and whatever kind of comes easier for me to make, and then I'll add more details to the second one as it goes on. So that's it. Thank you. Bye.